Welcome to Einstein's disease. Through real-world insights and powerful conversations with industry leaders, we help you break past limitations and rethink success. Are you ready to push the boundaries of what's possible?
Hello, it's Greg Ellers from Einstein's disease. I'm here today in Zion National Park with Dr. Jill Wilkes. Jill, how are you doing today? It's great to see you.
Doing very well. How about yourself?
How can I be happy in a place like this, Jill? It's a beautiful spot, and I'm really fortunate to be able to have an afternoon here with you. Had a nice conversation before we started this, and I'm looking forward to the show today.
Great, me too.
So, Jill, I think that as we were talking about prior to taping, there's so many different ways we can go with respect to your area of knowledge, and I don't like the word expertise. I haven't met one. So.
Neuroplasticity. How about we call it that?
How about that? Brain works. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the lens that you look through when you help people or you observe the way that society is both changing in a positive way and where you try and work with people, Jill, to make their opportunities or remapping some of their brain, if you will, to have a better experience. If we could start there, that'd be great.
Well, by giving them a toolbox for BrainWorks or for neuroplasticity, then they're the ones that start using it. We're coming off a period of industrialism where the authority figure was always the one telling people what to do, and people just followed orders according to middle management or whomever the boss was. But now those things are going away, and people are having to work on their own and guide and direct their own thinking, their own wellness, their own everything while we enter into the technology or the brain age.
Why don't you, for the audience, because it's got a couple of vowels and consonants, neuroplasticity, why don't you kind of bring that down to
fancy $50 word that just means neural is brain and our nervous system. It's all connected. We can't separate it out. And plasticity simply means that it's malleable, it's changeable, it's changing all the time. When I was growing up, we were told we get a certain amount of brain and we don't get any more, and that's just not true. We grow brain constantly and through life. So it's a matter of learning how to guide and direct that brain growth for intentional outcomes.
And what you just touched on there, and I think it's important because we were talking about that before, going from the industrial age to the technology age, or whatever this next this period that we're going to have, because the industrial age lasted for 150 years. And
it's not going to go away completely.
Right.
That's not, robots and computers do those jobs now.
Right.
So people are going to have to think again. The industrial age emphasized obedience, sitting down, being quiet, and doing what you're told. Those don't work anymore. Now you need to speak up.
They didn't work for a long time with my kids, Jill. I think this age might have started earlier.
Yes, it did. It's been going on for some time, really. But they have to learn to think again and speak again. And really, when you look at our classrooms or many areas, we hardly ever give them time to speak.
Right.
The teacher's always doing the speaking, and if we want to hear from them, we have to create environments that are their space, that we can allow them that safe space to talk without having to feel like they have to be right, or they're going to be corrected, or they're going to say something wrong, or they're just able to think.
So what you just touched on is a great tool, and it's a tool that I know that you utilize as a professor. Talk to us about how you engage and how people can engage, Jill, from the standpoint of not sit down and shut up and learn and listen, but engage and be a part of it. The audience is hearing and seeing this, or their distrust in the old world and leadership or organizations, government, etc., and the uncertainty with respect to where things are going on AI. So to be able to express those feelings, there's a lot of people that don't have those tools, Jill.
Skills, right. Only because they don't have brain in it yet.
Right.
But we can grow brain. Nobody is not intelligent or nobody's stupid. They're just downright disadvantaged.
Right.
So when you teach them how to grow that brain consciously according to their individual brain, because every brain is different, then they take off.
Right.
So when I would train faculty, I would say, we got to get the work of learning out of our laps and back into their laps. steps.
And how do you do that, Jill? What is a, because the kids have to, your students, I say kids, gray hair, they have to accept that you're transferring that responsibility to them.
Correct.
And yet they may, as you said, they haven't developed that part of their brain. So they're either atrophied or it's just never been there.
Right. And so one thing would be, as I told the university that I retired from, they shouldn't be leaving here with a transcript. They should be leaving here with a resume.
Right.
And I don't care if the resume just comes from kinds of research that they did, undergraduate research, or I don't care where it comes from. We need to get off the focus of lecture. Put that on your CD, send them home to listen to it. Then they come back and practice something called deliberative democracy.
What does that mean?
That just means we're going to talk, but it's not to win or debate or decide. It's just to hear how this information went through your head, because we each have a different library. Have you ever played the game of telephone?
All the time.
Does it ever come out the same?
I do it with my employees all the time.
Right. Why not? Because it goes through your unique library and your unique creator ability.
Yeah.
And then it becomes what you say. So communication has to change from the way we've been teaching it as well. It's been about, just learn these rhetorical patterns, just stand up and do public speaking. But no, we really want to teach one-on-one and interpersonal communication.
So what you're really talking about is a changed behavior, not only in the way that a student comes to get an education. They need to be getting this at a younger age, don't? I mean, you can't wait until they're 18.
No. And when I was a senior in high school, they implemented the same thing I'm teaching today, and it was a complete disaster, because you can't take a 12th grader and tell them, here, you're going to do the exact opposite and be successful. So it needs to start in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So I ran a school for my daughter, and they had to public speak once a week. It wasn't, scary public speaking. It was just what you do in the classroom. They worked in groups all of the time. They worked to solve problems. So there were, again, instead of memorize and then test, it was outcome-based.
Right.
So in an outcome-based school model, you can't cheat.
No, absolutely. And I think that's something, and we'll touch on this in the next segment. We're going to have to cut away here for a minute to let our advertisers help pay for the show. But what I really want to get on there is teaching people to be confident in what they actually have the capacity to do is the most powerful thing. And I know, talking to you, and we'll touch on it in the next segment, when people react and have that opportunity, it's the most beautiful thing that exists.
Yes, it is. I still have people calling me from 50 years ago saying, you saved my life. I said, no, I didn't. I just gave you a toolbox.
That's right.
You had to use it. I can't do that. I'm busy enough with my own life. It's a 24/7 job just to take care of this one.
No, I hear you. Well, listen, we're going to cut away to that commercial break. This is Greg Ellers from Einstein's Disease. I'm here with Dr. Jill Wilkes, BrainWorks. Mapping tools.
Toolbox for the mind.
Toolbox for the mind. And we will be back in after we pay for this show's ability to be on. Thanks, Jill.
You're welcome. Thank you, Greg.
So